Thanks for supporting 93.3 FM, Real Talk Radio, the only locally owned and operated radio station in all of Tallahassee. Appreciate you. Also appreciate you supporting Warchant.com, Warchant TV, and the like, anywhere you get the Jeff Cameron Show. So it's starting to get a little bit busy. Tom. We're getting some news trickling in here and there. Looks like Florida State is going to hire Brandon Harris. He is the brother of Florida State wide receivers coach Tim Harris. And Coach Harris, Brandon, that is, was already here once in Mike Norvell's inaugural season here. So he's been on the staff before.
Hopefully he recruits as well as his brother did the last year.
That's the whole thing.
That would be nice to see. And clearly this is something where if you look at the Patrick Surtain departure, didn't see eye to eye with Tony White, Evan Cooper, and the philosophical way they want to run their defense. I guess this one is a fit with Brandon Harris. We'll see.
Something wasn't simpatico. He coached last year at UCF, the defensive backs coach there. So, it is interesting. We'll wait and see the other names. We're still all watching closely. I'm like you, by the way, Tom. The second a coach's name comes up, I'm just, can he recruit? Can he recruit? That's all I do. Can he recruit? I'm going to assume the chops in terms of teaching and to some degree, developing players is there. It's just to me whether or not you can bring in better players, lots of them.
Here's the deal. Are we going to get a real shot at seeing that, or are we trying to actually reform this thing in a year and we'll have a lot of incomplete grades? Because the 2027 cycle you could get some commits here, there, and everywhere. But as I sit here on December the 10th of 2025, I'm not entirely sure what coaches will be here next year at this time. Not saying that, they've got the stones to fire people necessary, but, we're right back where we started. So
yeah, that's your fear. That's my fear. I think we certainly know that that's something we're all a little worried about right now. But at the same time, if you're just documenting along the way,
hopefully you can get a couple yeses in the interim
and they stick and they're good.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, whomever's coaching them down the road, it works out, right?
Legit. Yeah. Tim did a very good job with this receiver class with little to no variety to choose from on the field. He was able to still convince kids that, hey, it'll be different for you than it was for Squirrel White. And I promise it will be.
Well, the one thing you can promise there, though, too, is that you're not going to have the same quarterback throw into them. So that helps because those kids could just put on the tape and be like, yeah, he misses a lot of guys, a lot of really wide open individuals here. I don't know if I'm down for all that.
I think that was part of the phone calls towards signing day. No, hang on, guys. It's going to be different. Trust me. I know what your concerns are. We've seen them in the All-22. In fact, we have offensive meetings in which we go over these many near misses and not so near misses. You're going to be fine. We're going to bring somebody else in here.
By the way, as an aside, did you see Georgia made changes to their schedule with ACC teams on their today? They announced they'll be canceling future home and home series with Louisville and NC State. I wonder what that means moving forward. We all know with a number of SEC games, what they're looking at. And, also I'd point out there is, I hate to make this Georgia centric to start, but Georgia played a ton of young players in that SEC championship game. In fact, through most of the year, I was reading an article today in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. They were talking about how, I'm going to paraphrase the quote because I don't have it in front of me, but I read it this morning. Kirby was talking about those young players and how much they've grown up and in the course of a season, that they have gotten a lot better. And I commented to you the other night at the Warchant Christmas party when we were watching Georgia dismantle Alabama, that when I watched Georgia early in the year, I thought a couple of things were at play. They needed the quarterback to get better. He did over time. And I thought they got to get a lot better on defense. They were Swiss cheese early by Georgia standards. Well, what I didn't know, because I don't follow Georgia as closely as I follow Florida State, was how much they were relying on an awful lot of young players, including a couple true freshmen, to play and play well, and those kids had to grow up. So that's neither here nor there, except to say that Kirby was asked about it. And he was talking about getting that experience through the course of the year and surviving a couple close games in order to, and getting wins while those guys got experience and how that'll help them in the postseason and all of that. And he said, well, we were incredibly young, but I think that's now the way it has to be and will be moving forward. I think that teams are going to have to play their young players, and they're going to have to play them pretty early, and you got to develop them because you're just not going to find the quality that you want in the portal in mass. And he didn't go on to say that, he's proud of the way they recruited, but that's self-evident. Obviously, you better have good players if you're going to play them early, especially in that conference. And so, the clay you're working with. Again, this is why we continue to hit home the whole point about recruiting, because it isn't just throwing money at guys. It is developing guys. It is having relationships with people. It is finding and evaluating kids that are able to come in and play for you sooner rather than later, because kids aren't sitting anymore. They'll leave. And they'll go play somewhere that offers them the opportunity to hit the field.
Yeah, in most cases, what is frustrating for Florida State fans is you've got a couple of guys specifically in the defensive backfield who have been here for years. And then they get on the field and they look like crap. And you say, well, I thought he was the linchpin of 2 cycles ago. He can't come in even for a third down and hold his own? Or, hey, I thought we brought in this one kid who's going to be a safety for us. Why are we having to portal over or why are we even in spring camp having to go get a Jerry Wilson? I thought we had a lot of corners that we liked. That's the frustrating thing about here is it doesn't seem like it's happening at a rapid clip when the portal opens that kids are sent packing. Now, this go-around might be different. We're starting a lot of names. A lot of kids that just got here last year are already entering the portal. Hopefully, there's a little bit more urgency in those communications as you see somebody like a Mario Nash leave and L.A. Jesse Harold leave and Jamori Flagg, who's leaving today. Maybe, hopefully, exit interviews this offseason are a little bit more aggressive in their language, because that would be a sign of health to me, that we had a kid here only 1 year and they said, nope, not going to get it done. You might as well ride on out.
Yeah, redshirt freshman Jamori Flagg, defensive lineman, for those that don't know, entering the portal according to Pete Nakos of On3. There are, we had Tylen Coleman left. I think he's the other one on the defensive line.
Yep.
To leave.
He was a JUCO last year.
He was a JUCO. There have been good JUCO players in the history of college football, of course, but it's not.
But Nash and Harold were a part of last year's class.
Correct.
Right. So one and dones. They were not cheap. Well, at least Harold wasn't. I know. Harold was a couple $100,000.
Was that a desperation payment out of the fact that you don't have edge rushers?
Yeah, because we were 50th in the country in recruiting.
Correct.
And we had to get up to 20th.
This is
Tylen Lee's the other guy we spent a lot of money on.
Tax, buddy.
Well, yeah, the suck tax hits you every which way. It could be an actual dollar tax and how much you have to pay coaches to come here, or retention, viability of the program reputation-wise. Yeah, there's a lot of taxes. Now, you can spend what is necessary in order to overcome it. Just that tax adds up after a while and from all different angles.
Jalen Lucas is leaving too. He's not young. Let me ask you a question. Jalen is on his way out the door. He was a running back, as we well know, kickoff returner as well. Interesting story with Jalen Lucas. You think about his plight. I mean, here's a guy who was kicking ass and taking names, and one of the few to do it at Indiana, and then leaves where he had been a special teams maven and a highlight reel kid in special teams, and comes to Florida State. And this is the classic Zen master. We'll see. Moment where he leaves and everybody pats him on the back and says, good for you. Way to get out of Indiana. Way to go to Florida State. We'll see, Grasshopper. And he comes here and is never utilized properly. Has moments where you go, okay, there it is. Let's see more of that. But not enough. Got to do better. And he's on down the road.
I understand that he was heavily injured, hampered by injury a season ago in 2024, but he embodies, like few others, the failures of Mike Norvell and Gus Malzahn, the failures of this offense to pick a lane and stay in a lane.
Well, we talked about it all year long about the rotation of backs. Now, he's not your traditional back, but yes.
But he's something that makes you better.
I think so too. I agree.
Mike Norvell had to apologize after the Tech game last year that he forgot about using him. Like, he said that. It was after the Tech game where he looked like he had a rocket up his keister to start the game for you. And he said, okay, that's why we went and got that guy from Indiana. And then he wasn't on the field. And Mike was asked about it. He said, yeah, I forget the exact words, but it was something I can't do. Lost in the shuffle there. Oh, my God. And then by the time you found him, he got hurt last year.
You know, what's interesting about that is he was one of the reasons, and there were several, but one of the reasons that the praise for certain aspects of that Florida State football team, which obviously did not live up to expectation in the 2-10 campaign, these were the kinds of guys that we saw in practice that would just steady make plays with their speed and athleticism. We would look at a kid like that and go, okay, they didn't have that previous. Now you got kind of he may be a gadget guy, if you want to call him that. That's fine. I don't mean that as a derogatory term. But he's a gadget guy, and you can find a lot of ways to use him. And we thought, I can't wait. And we saw some practices where that speed was blinding. And then you get that first play, like you say, you're like, they're going to do it. And then they didn't do it.
Well, then you got this spring when it was asked, Mike was asked, what position is he? And he was cagey. He wouldn't just say gadget. He wouldn't say receiver. He wouldn't say running back, which is something that is extremely frustrating with this staff, and specifically Mike. Straight answers. You don't get them. Like, even with some of these things related to the coaching changes, the coordinator questions last week at the signing day press conference, can you just give me a 2-word straight answer, or even a sentence that they're just always caught in the middle, it seems, on everything. Like the rotation of players, the personnel decisions, what direction they want to go here, there, and everywhere. And that goes all the way up the ladder, too, to the post-Stanford statement. It just, there's so much unnecessary, it feels like, we're caught in between in limbo energy coming from there.
So you and I both took an awful lot of writing courses, journalism courses in the course of our high school and college days. And what I will tell you is, do you remember the first time one of your papers that you wrote and you thought eloquently was redlined because of the AP rules? And you realized really, yeah. Okay. You remember the first time that ever happened to you?
Yeah, MLA formats, APA formats.
Yes, of course, right? Yeah. So I remember the first time I had an honest to goodness former editor of the Detroit Free Press edit something that I had written, and I was, emasculated in a way. It was, I had handed in this thing with flowery prose and amazing analogy and any number of other things. He's like, shaga, 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 and just redlined all through it. And that's when you learned to speak succinctly, at least in certain forms of communication, and how you go about the process. So to your point, I would rather, just to assess what you're saying, have a coach, and I've suggested this. This is actually part of the Jeff Cameron Show PR firm. I would tell a coach, if you're a coach or you're, let's say, the SID or whomever is speaking to the coach about what's likely to come in this upcoming Q&A, when your availability, whatever you want to call it, or press conference, you say, you're going to get asked this, and you're going to get asked this, and you're going to get asked this. You can say whatever you want about this. We're not prepared to talk about this right now. These 3 issues we're not talking about right now. They're not finalized. Whatever the reason might be, it's not done. It's medical. It's whatever. We don't want you to talk about that right now. Don't think you should. Think there's a chance you put your foot in it. If you do, leave it be. So what your answer is to that question, appreciate the question. All right. You can just offer up that. You can be, of course, appreciate the question. We're not prepared to talk about that right now. Next question. Or I'm not at liberty to say that right now. Whatever it might be, succinct, to the point.
Yeah, I like the liberty part. First of all,
fine.
It's American. Second of all, you don't say that you're not prepared, because that's, people are going to take that out of context.
Well, okay, fine. However you'd like to word it, but it's succinct and direct. It's telling you, don't ask it again. I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
And we're moving forward. And it's okay. You can say no comment too, by the way. It's a little bit more terse, but you could say no comment. That sometimes leads to speculation. That's why I'd say we're not at liberty to talk about that right now. And you move on. It's so easy. Instead of the meandering gibberish.
Yeah, or it's in your opening statement before questions are fielded.
Yeah, guys, we're not going to be talking about John Smith today. He was hurt last week. We all know that. Further tests, we'll give you more information when we know it.
Or, yes, last Friday, I'm extremely excited to talk to you. I have elite confidence in this group that we have before us today, 32 new players. I do have some announcements to come in subsequent weeks in terms of personnel changes on the coaching staff in the front office. When I have that information for you, I will share it with you. But first of all, Chauncey Kennan, Chucky Kennan, got to tell you about this kid. And then you're off and running.
Yeah.
You've already beat him to the punch. Yeah. Instead, we live somewhere in the middle where it's, for example, if you and I are walking down the street and we're asked, hey, so is Gus coming back? Well, hard to say. Well, they're at least going to get rid of Papuchis, right? I mean, I would have thought that when Surtain was gone, Papuchis might have been dismissed. I'm not quite sure. And Tokars, well, again, we're just we're in a holding pattern here. That little pause and frustration is pervasive right now. However, talking out of both sides of my mouth as I will, with Jalen Lucas, good. If we're trying to whittle this thing down to some players that we want to use over and over and over again, you're going to have to tell a lot of kids that, hey, man, you want 3 carries a week? We can continue maybe to do that, but I've chosen to go with Chroma. I've chosen to go with Singleton because he showed out. Danzy, whatever it is. Like that's the important thing now, I think, hopefully, is that we're going to start rotating less dudes in here and pick some studs and develop those guys.
I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know about that. I don't think Lucas deciding to walk is an indication of that. I'd like to believe it, though.
Well, it's one fewer guy in the room that you'd be like, hey, you know what?
Find another one,
Let's spin the wheel.
They'll find another one.
It'll be Amari Thomas.
They still have ample guys. They'll just decide on another one. Don't worry about that. Hey, you know what? Let's get to it real quick before I forget to do it in the opening segment here, because we're excited about it, and it's on me that we hadn't announced it yet. But we are doing, once again, the bowling tournament, the annual Jeff Cameron Show, and oftentimes together with our friends at Warchant, bowling tournament. And it's always a wondrous get-together during the holiday season, and it benefits the children in the Circuit 2 for the Guardian Ad Litem Foundation. It benefits the children, I should say, in Circuit 2. They represent children, as you well know, in Leon, McCullough, Gadsden, Franklin, Jefferson, and Liberty counties. I'll tell you this, they always need more volunteers. They have and I'm really proud of this because we did some spots, and it's not solely because of us, but we were able to talk about and get the message out there. I went to a meeting and talked to some folks as well. They needed more male volunteers to help mentor some of the young males. And women are oftentimes just better than men, and they show up in droves for things like this to help and mother and guide these children who are in a terrible set of circumstances oftentimes. But men, we haven't as much over the years. And you know what? We put a call out for that, and they did. They did. They increased their male participation in this, their role models, their representatives by 60%, Tom, this past year. Isn't that exciting?
That's a big number.
I think it's a big damn deal. I'm excited. Now, you might say, well, they had 1. Now they got 3, Jeff, and here we are. No, I'm just saying that nope. I talked to Deborah this morning. That's an aside. The tournament's going to be the 18th, benefiting the children of the Guardian Ad Litem Foundation, Circuit 2, counties I just represented, just said to you, and it'll be at Capitol Lanes on the 18th. So, Tom, how do folks sign up? Because this will happen probably almost by the end of the day.
So it's radio@warchant.com. You email radio@warchant.com with your team of 4. I don't need to know everybody's names, but just have 4 people committed to bowl with you. Total of 4 people, you and 3 others, and send emails to radio@warchant.com, subject line bowling tournament. And we will respond to you as quickly as we possibly can to confirm that you're in the entry. As always, 2 new toys for children or gift cards. We'll take either one. Just don't put them in wrapping paper. And the packaging as they come from the store
is fine.
Is perfect.
Yeah, you don't have to wrap them. Just bring them on in, and it's nice. You bring it on in, good stuff, and we give them to the kids, and the Guardian Ad Litem folks pick them up, take them there. Those gift cards have gone a long way because a lot of times a lot of kids over the age of 13, 14 don't really want a stuffed animal per se or a toy like that. They would like, maybe electronics or something, and gift cards help with that. So gift cards are fine. Toys, great. It's 2 toys per person if you're coming, or a gift card, as we say, and we really appreciate it. It's the 18th at 7:00. That's next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, is the 18th at Capitol Lanes. Our friends over there have been good to us over the years. Once again, they are welcoming us with open arms. We can build this thing out to up to 20 teams. and we'll have pizza as well as wings.
Perfect. Food will be provided. Soft drinks will be provided as well. You want some booze? It's on you. That's okay.
Yeah.
Also, it should be noted for those of you that can't make it or you live in different parts of the world and the country, that Thursday, the 18th, we're making it Guardian Ad Litem Day. So the giving show, donation show.
Yep.
Last year, I think we exceeded $10,000.
It was unreal. It was hard to even conduct ourselves. We were so touched. It was amazing.
So it starts 1 o'clock next Thursday for the live giving show, and then the bowling tournament will round out the night as the main event here at Capitol Lanes. It's going to be a great day to do right and do good for the holiday season, which always makes everybody feel better, especially most importantly, the kids who need your help.
All right. Radio at warchant.com.
Radio at warchant.com, subject line, bowling tournament, please.
Shannon Young made the move a while back to the nation's largest mortgage company, and man, has he been on a roll ever since. Cross-country mortgage, who he's with, but this is about Shannon and the job he does for you. And many a Noel and many a JCS listener and many a member of this community who take in this show on a daily basis decided to take me up on the offer. They were looking for a house. They wanted somebody with unwavering commitment. They wanted relentless goal-oriented attitude. They wanted somebody who was going to get it done for them. He's in 7 states: Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Better rates, better options, stronger support, and I'm telling you, Shannon is solid as a rock. I cannot vouch more for a guy than Shannon Young and the job he does for his clients. Want to learn more? Loansfornoles.com. That is loansfornoles.com.
What makes Paul's Termite and Pest Control the best in North Florida?
It's our core values, of course, and they happen to spell Paul's.
P, protecting you and your pets from pests and your property from termites.
A, accept personal responsibility. At Paul's, we realize it's up to us to get things right and strive to do more than's expected.
U, uphold company values. Those values include treating others with respect and understanding we represent Paul's Pest Control on and off the clock.
L, look the part. As representatives of this great company, we will always make sure that our image matches the character of Paul's.
S, support the team. Every job we do is a total team effort to create a supportive workplace.
P, protecting you, your pets, and your property. A, accept personal responsibility. U, uphold company values. L, look the part. S, support the team. Paul's core values. They make us the best.
For the elimination of termites and other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
You worked hard on making your house the grandest holiday decorated in the city. Well, Parker Services AC and Electrical is giving you an opportunity to be recognized for that work. Parker Services is proud to bring the Tallahassee area its Holiday Lights competition. There will be 3 winners, one from each of these categories. Heavenly Light, which captures the spirit of the Nativity. Most Electrifying, which recognizes the most vibrant, energy-packed displays. And Elves Gone Wild, for the most whimsical and wacky display. Each winner will receive a great prize package. The second and third place finisher will also be recognized. To enter, visit Parker Services website, TallahasseeAC.com. Again, TallahasseeAC.com by December 19th. You'll find easy-to-follow instructions there. Good luck and happy holidays from Parker Services AC, Electrical, and Generators too.
Parker Services, comfort just a call away.
Florida license number CMC 050334 and EC 130-12140.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Big news! Café de Martín has been named one of America's best restaurants, and we want to celebrate with you. On December 10th from 1 to 4 p.m., a national film crew will be in the restaurant capturing the magic of our food, our people, and our community. Come dine with us, enjoy your favorites, and you just might be featured on camera. Join the celebration at Café de Martín, December 10th, 1 to 4 p.m. Café de Martín, where every plate tells a story.
Injured? Call attorneys who care. Facing Brooks. Offices, Tallahassee. FSU football is back, and every game means another chance to win the Garnet and Gold Score Contest on the Greg Tish Show. Listen and call in every Friday morning with your FSU score prediction. If you nail it, you'll win some great Garnet and Gold gear every Friday morning from 6 to 9 a.m.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know, Tom, I don't know how you feel about this. I'm continuing to look at whatever players announce that they're leaving and which ones we may be taking a look at potentially in the portal when that opens up on the 2nd of January. The rumors begin to mount. You can certainly fish around and talk to people close to the program about the potential candidates to be coming here, maybe a quarterback or on the offensive line, whatever it might be. But for me, it's more about the coaching staff. And in particular, it's more about whether or not Florida State will have Gus Malzahn here or not. And, you know, everything that we saw via action, not rumor, not innuendo, not speculation, but via action, suggested there was no way that Gus Malzahn would be back at Florida State next year. And the reason I say that is he interviewed for 2 separate jobs. He interviewed for the Arkansas job. There's confirmation of that. He interviewed for the UAB position. And because those jobs, so the Arkansas job first was filled, and now the UAB job, you know, you're waiting to hear his name pop up for other jobs, I suppose. Although most of them are being filled and have been filled. And what we talked about off the air and a little bit on the air, at least made reference to, is the quandary Florida State finds themselves in, which is that they're not in a position to, well, they're not in a position where they want to fire Gus Malzahn. Let's say that was their stance. Let's say they wanted to. Because obviously fiscally they're trying to be stewards, be responsible. They just brought the man in and they would owe him $4 million. If he were to retire, they wouldn't owe him $4 million, and that'd be great. But I said to you and anybody else who has eyes would speculate on this and say, why would he walk away from that money voluntarily? He wouldn't. You'd have to go to him if he was miserable and he didn't want to be here, which was rumored. Only rumored. I don't know. I've not asked Gus that, so I can't tell you I know that. But certainly that is speculated about a lot amongst people that certainly are close to that program. And he would maybe, if he were miserable, or if his wife, let's say, really wanted him to retire and he was going to acquiesce to that demand or request, what, come to you and work out a deal? Like, hey, you know, I'd like to walk away. I'm done, but I'm not going to obviously walk away from $4+ million. What do you say we talk here, 2.5, and I'll call it a day or whatever it might be. But short of that, he's not going to walk away. He's going to be here. And I do find that interesting that you've got a coach on your staff that's actively interviewing for other jobs left and right, and he'll be back with you this next year. It's not healthy, I don't think. Now you're bringing in a member of his former staff at UCF, and I don't know. It's an interesting set of circumstances where from the outside looking in, observing, you'd say, I don't know how coherent all this is. I don't know how ideal all this is. Is Gus gaining ground and more power, or is it waning, and is he not wanted, or is he embraced and we're moving forward with? We look to be in limbo.
Yeah, I mean, that's that middle ground that I'm talking about. It's just there's no hard answers, and it's not like Florida State would put out an infographic that says rolling it back, you know, with Gus Malzahn and the Gus Bus in 2026. They wouldn't do that. But at the same time, had they known for sure that the embracing was there and that Gus was coming back, you don't think Mike would have happily answered the question last Friday? and said, I don't even understand why you asked me that question. We can't wait to have Coach Malzahn back in 2026 and put a face on it. Instead, it's we don't expect there to be changes at this time. I mean, we're working in and out with, the different roles we have in the staff. And you're like, I don't even know what he just said, but it certainly wasn't a yes or a no. So, yeah, it's not easy to answer. How is Gus viewed in the building by Mike Norvell? How is Gus viewed in the program by the totality of everybody that's a part of the program? But I do know that he ain't fired, and I do know he hadn't left yet. So here we are. It does feel like it trended from, let's say, the morning we woke up for the Florida game that, no, he ain't coming back, to, holy God, they're going to do this thing. It's going to be Mike and the two coordinators that coached us for the Florida game are back again.
It brings it up. You bring it up because it affects who you could get at quarterback in the portal for sure.
And who's making that call?
Correct. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Who is running things around here?
Who's in charge?
These
are the questions we asked right after.
Yes.
Who's in charge of what? Because we were promised, was it fundamental changes, if not significant changes? Okay, we thought that a third party was going to come in to be the middleman between athletic director and head coach. Who's in charge of what? It would seem like every operation right now, outside of maybe a consulting firm that was brought in, this is all Mike's show. He's in charge of everything just like he was before the tough talk. Right?
I don't know, man. It feels more and more like Gus Malzahn's in charge with these hirings and all that's happening.
Well, the UCF guy was already here if you're talking about the defensive backs coach. Now, if we bring in a certain running backs coach that CBS and 24/7 are talking about, that would be a Gus hire all the way.
Well, buddy, so what is it we're doing here?
Oh.
So what is it we're doing here?
I think we've tried to have the conversation around that point because we've made it abundantly clear what we feel is really going on here. But you're just trying to get through the day-to-day.
I'm just trying to tell you that, I don't know, that I was hoping to be wrong, that I was really hoping to be wrong, but it's not looking like it. Yeah, that's right. That's what you got to go to for those driving and listening and not watching. We gave the shrug emoji. So that's what we got. The days that go by here are going to be spent monitoring which players are coming and going, which coaches are coming and going. So far, I haven't felt any sense of, anger at the names mentioned that are leaving. There are some names that are whispered and have been for 3 days all around the program about some others that might leave. So we'll see. I think the frustration will be, I don't think you're going to go unscathed in the transfer market in terms of which kids enter their name into the portal. So far, the names have been kids, other than however you felt about Lucas.
Well, until 15 minutes ago with Edwin Joseph.
Well, that's what I said.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you that the Edwin Joseph situation is one where I'm going to file that more under the inability to develop and get the most out of a talent, which might be why you're seeing the changes in the secondary from a coaching standpoint. Maybe. But I can't imagine that Edwin Joseph is the last of the significant names that we're going to hear that decide to walk. So we said all along, kind of brace yourself. You can't have back-to-back losing seasons and not expect to have some significant names decide to jettison.
Sure. Well, and it's a significant name, but is it a name that got you the result that you were looking for? Was he a part of the solution? That's the thing is I love the way Edwin played, especially 2 years ago. I loved the attitude that he brought at a time when a lot of people were checking out. He said, get the veterans out of here or whatever the hell it was when he was walking into practice 2 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that calmed down at any point or not. Obviously, there was the exchange on the sidelines. Was it the Stanford game with Edwin? I think it was the Stanford game that Ira observed from the press box.
Well, it was observed on television too.
Yeah. So is he a part of the grand plan to get you 8 or 9 wins? Or when you lose this much over 2 seasons, is it not better to purge this thing as much as possible?
Yeah, well, what ends up happening is that everybody is grasping for the reasons specifically. They want answers, and I think it's more about the blank show that we're witnessing, and at that point, it always comes back to the head coach. You know, you begin to blame players less and less, and more the coaches for their inability to get guys to play to their very best and the talent that we've seen.
Correct. Well, that's the thing is it comes back to the head coach. I think if you're just trying to look at this in a vacuum, it's hard to give a complete grade to the defensive coordinator or the offensive coordinator after one full season. It's easier for Gus because they brought in so many veterans that I think it's easier to judge him.
He handpicked the quarterback who he wanted to be here. You had a serviceable offensive line, an elite wide receiver. You brought over your tight end. You have a stable of running backs that are good enough to get it done. And frankly, if you remove the 2 cush games against teams that couldn't compete with you, you put up pedestrian numbers, and you certainly couldn't play on the road.
If you're talking about the long-term development and the philosophy and it being absorbed, still, I'd say, yeah, you've got an 85% picture of what Gus is. With Tony, it's 60, 55,
maybe
60%.
Yeah. Well, I think you're seeing changes now on Tony's staff because he didn't have people in lockstep with him, and I'm willing to watch that play out. You know, I don't love everything that happened this year. I'm not going to say that, but yeah, that personnel was not ideal. And usually, when you bring in coordinators, to your point, both of them, you let them kind of pick their guys to implement and run their offense and defense. They get more than a year typically. I thought the body language between Gus and Mike and just Gus in general was never good, but maybe he's just a cantankerous old man and never seems happy. It could just be that simple.
I think multiple things can be true, but that's certainly true. I think that's certainly true. I don't know who he gets along with. I mean, really.
Pitch and Penny Pools and Spas have everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, you name it, they've got it. We all know they already have the largest selection of premium Hot Springs hot tubs. Now they've got the cold plunge tubs to boot, also made by Hot Springs. So the best in the business now venturing down the path of the cold plunge health tubs. They have both, and that is a massive storage area, warehouse area, I should say. If you go over off of Greer Road, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's impressive. They make it affordable. They'll haul your old one away and give you money towards your new one. Pitch and Penny Pools and Spas. If you're ready to relax, they're ready to show you how.
For local news now.
Over 40 grams of meth. Officers responded to the scene after neighbors said they saw Benson and Holgate trying to break into locked mailboxes. This is Rachel Anae with Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update. Brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Gold, and it is a much warmer lunchtime than it was yesterday. Upper 50s and low 60s when that was pretty much our high yesterday. We'll likely be heading home in those mid to low 60s, and the sun will be shining all day long. The highs, they're going to be hitting around 3 p.m., potentially in the upper 60s. Most of us will be in the mid 60s. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ryan Gold.
Tired of calling 1-800 numbers just to get put on hold? Flush those numbers down the drain and call Terry West Plumbing and Septic Services, now offering Terry's Toilets, providing clean, reliable porta potties for any job site, special event, or backyard party. Real local people doing real work. No robots, no AI, no call centers. For all your septic services and portable restroom needs, one local call wipes away the competition. Call 850-510-8558. That's 510-8558. Or visit terrywestplumbing.com. When you call, we answer.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
But they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Real quick reminder, I said so at the in the opening segment on the show. We are back with the JCS bowling tournament to benefit our friends, obviously, at the Guardian Ad Litem. We're so happy to rejoin forces with them. The Guardian Ad Litem Foundation, benefiting the children in Circuit 2, represent children in Leon, Wakulla, Gadsden, Franklin, Jefferson, and Liberty counties. They're always in need of mentors, and that's what they provide these young kids who are in a tough set of circumstances. Let's make the holiday a little bit more joyful for them the way we have for years and years and years. And when I say we, I'm largely talking about you guys. I have the platform by which to send the messaging out. You guys have responded. It's always incredible. That response really reaching a crescendo a year ago, where on that Thursday, well, we're going to do it this Thursday, a week from tomorrow, we have the Giving Day, and you guys stepped up and donated to the tune of over $10,000. It was unbelievable. But put your teams together. It's teams of 4, 2 unwrapped gifts that you bring, new gifts that you bring for the children. So they have something to open on Christmas. And then also, if you don't want to do that, you can just bring a gift card. They really do appreciate gift cards, so that's fine too. I don't care if we have 100 gift cards. That's fine. It looks cooler when we have all the presidents. I know. It looks cooler when we have all the presents laid out there, and we can take the picture and smile and everything like that, because who doesn't want to look at presents under a tree? But honestly, it doesn't really matter. Either way, you're helping out. But you get your teams of 4. You can sign up now, radio@warchant.com. That is radio@warchant.com. You're going to want to do it today or tomorrow, because I have a sense that the 20 teams that we put together every year and that we draw out of the hat there, they're going to be gone. It doesn't take long for us to turn this around.
Yeah, so, I got 5 already.
Well, there you go. And I'd expect you'll have 5 more before the end of the show. So we'll be at 10 before the day is up, and that's half the field. So get on it. It's kind of a first come, first serve deal here. And Capital Lanes has been awesome for us too. And I want to thank Diana over at Capital Lanes. I kind of dropped the ball with some other things that were going on at this time of year for us. And I didn't get to her as quickly as I would have liked to, but yet she said, without question, come on down. We'll have you guys here, and we'll have a great time on that Thursday, and some pizza and wings to boot. And let's get after it and do some bowling. Tom, I think you had a good year last year. I think you rolled like a big number, didn't you?
Oh.
I mean, relative to us, we both suck at bowling. What was it like? One year I rolled a 199, and you rolled.
I think I got in the 170s or 180s last year.
I thought you were holding it down last year.
I was on a tear 2 years ago, and the lanes got shut off, and it wasn't going to be a record. My record, I've done it once. I've broken 200. It's 218, I think. I'll never sniff that. You have the company record for the tournament. You have it. You bowled like a 190 something. That
199. The guy screwed me. He iced me. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what we're all gunning for is the 200 number. I don't think we'll ever get there, but 170 and change last year. I think that a good day.
Yeah, I thought you held it down, man. I thought you did. I remember you were the best of the bunch last year in our group, anyhow. Now, of course, there's people out here rolling 250s and stuff like that.
Oh, well, yeah, that's very different.
That ain't you and me, that's for sure.
No, I think we had like a 270 or something last
year. A few years ago, there was a guy that, like a former FSU bowler, rolled in there, and he was like, I just wanted to help out. I mean, I know this isn't fair, but I used to bowl, and I'm really pretty good.
We've had a couple of actual teams show up too to donate their time and toys.
I had a guy,
youth teams,
a few weeks back. I wish I could remember his name. I had a guy, I went to pick up food to go, And the guy walked over to me and he goes, he asked me if I was Jeff Cameron or whatever. And I said, yeah. And he goes, listen, I've listened to your show for a while. I love to bowl. You got to let me know when the tournament's coming. And I was like, well, it's coming soon. I haven't got on it yet. And he said to me, well, I'm going to bowl this year if I find out about it in time. I've got 10 300 games. 10! I believed him. He said it with great conviction. And nothing against you, sir. He was nerdy enough to have 10 300 games. I'm telling you that right now. I believed him. He was very convincing that he would have 10 300 games.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to go for the lie, you'd say 2. 10
is very specific. Yeah, it was very impressive. Jags and Knowles writes, hey, Jeff, could we please get rid of Papooses? Our linebackers are a consistent weakness, and we cannot catch punts. Embarrassing. Hey, look, you know what's funny about Papooses? Everybody throws out the caveat before they talk about it, because I've had the chance to talk to Papooses. You've had the chance to talk to John Papooses. We've all had chances to talk to Coach Papooses, and he's an enjoyable man to talk to.
Yeah, he's a Caps fan. I've talked hockey with him.
Yeah, he loves hockey. He's an interesting guy. And but, yeah, man, it's unequivocal. He's done a terrible job with what he's tasked to do. It has not gone well. Whether you're talking about special teams, linebackers, recruiting, you name it. Nope. Those are the boxes I'm checking. So I'm with you, brother. And I like that you're asking me if we could, but I'm not in charge. And I have no real say other than to either agree or disagree with you when you posit such a thing. But we have beat the drum. And that ought to tell you something, because here's the deal. We're all human beings, and thus human nature comes into play. And if anybody in your life, a coworker, somebody you deal with in business, whatever it might be, if they're good people and you like to talk with them and you like who they are and you think they're nice and you think they do a good job and you see that they've got whatever, they've got traits that you think are admirable, you're less apt to call for them to be fired or cut off or removed. And you're less apt to criticize in any way. Human nature. You don't want to do that to nice people. And yet, to a man, I don't know anybody that doesn't think that guy should be fired. And we all think he's a great guy.
I could offer a public defender's level defense for him.
Well, I could do it for any coach on the staff.
Yeah.
Because you always come back to the head coach.
Sure. Well, that's part of it. But I would say it's his first year coaching the linebackers. It's not like he got to decide which players were at that level. So he's operating from a deficit there. That's not a true eval of what he can be as a linebackers coach, because he's been at previous destinations in his career. Secondly, I could argue that David Johnson was mostly in charge from what we could see when practice was observable. The punt returners, which has been a humongous problem. Now, you could blame John because he's the coordinator, and that falls under his purview, but now David Johnson is gone, so maybe you get somebody else that's good in there, and that's where my argument ends. But there you go. There are 2 points.
Succinct.
Yeah.
Brandman says, we have a staff full of great guys. Oh, man. I know. He, along with many others, have echoed the thought, you know what? Give me a bunch of a-holes that are winning a bunch of football games that are really difficult to deal with, that are straight up winning a bunch of football games.
Make it so.
Sure. I'm fine with it. I always have been. As long as they're not, immoral or something. But yeah. I mean, you want to be a prick? Go ahead. I'll live with it.
Hey, old Stork and Nick O'Leary were legendary. Rodney Hudson, legendary.
Oh, we dealt with. Now you're talking about players.
Yeah.
Players that we've run into over the years that you're talking to.
Oh, well, we're already off to a good start with Gus. I mean, what are we talking about here?
But he's not winning, nor performing, nor executing. Yeah. No.
Well, he's just the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Old school. How many of the coaches on staff being talked about would any of the rivals have on staff? Writes Rye by 8778. I don't know. As position coaches, in some cases, one man's trash is another man's treasure. We've seen position coaches go over the years, go from one place to the next and get jobs that seem unlikely based on their previous failures. I don't know. That's why I continually say a lot of times that it is easy for us, and even understandable for all of us oftentimes, to say, well, this position group doesn't perform well. I'm starting to wonder whether that coach in charge of that position group is doing his job well enough. And that's fine. I maintain that, again, when you have something as systemic-wide as this, you have to go back to the head coach. You have to go back to leadership at the top.
You do. However, I think it's fair to reiterate in this moment, don't have to do it every show, but this is on the administration this year. This one. Right here, right now. Everything that, like when you say, well, where's the plan? Where's this? Where's that? They chose to run this back. They chose to let him continue to guide things, and this fell to their desk. Because the previous year, they had the same choice. They decided coordinators were enough. This year, it seems like we're not even doing coordinators. We're going to get a couple ancillary firings and maybe a front office. Okay. It's on y'all now.
Taking your time on that front office.
Well, consulting firms, they got to do their job. Got a lot of interviews.
Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with. This is Jeff Cameron Show on 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
It's where you raise your kids, where friends become family, where every corner has a story worth telling. It's your neighborhood. At ABC 27, we share those stories, bringing you news that connects communities, builds pride, and reminds us we're part of something bigger. We are ABC 27, in your neighborhood.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
This is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. You've probably heard the saying, marry the house, date the rate. Here's what that means. If you love the home, do not wait on the perfect interest rate. You can always refinance later, and I can help you plan for that from day one. In fact, a lot of homeowners I worked with last year are refinancing right now and saving hundreds each month. Others are using the equity in their homes to invest, buying second homes or rental properties that are already building wealth. So whether you're looking to lower your monthly payment, get cash out, or start an investment portfolio, let's talk strategy. I'll walk you through your options and find the smartest financial move for where you are right now. You can find me at loansforknowles.com. That's loansforknowles.com. You can reach me at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. I'm Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage, and I want to help give you the keys to your next opportunity.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon, there is one every few weeks. That's why the 7th Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials, too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, 7th Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee.
Your sports action update on Real Talk 93.3 with all the latest odds from Vegas.
Jimmy V Classic at Madison Square Garden. UConn with a 77-73 win over the Florida Gators, but the Gators did cover as 4.5-point underdogs. South Florida laying 15.5 against Charleston today, 157.5
the total for the Bulls on their home floor. The Jacksonville Jaguars minus 165 to win the AFC South. They're 12.5-point favorites over the New York Jets on Sunday at Everbank Stadium. 41.5 the total. It is Tampa Bay Buccaneers tomorrow, 4.5-point favorites over the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday Night Football at Raymond James. Score $500 in rewards at the GBank First Bet VSiN Trifecta. Details at vsin.com/GBank. For more sports betting news and information, go to vsin.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
Budget Blinds at Tallahassee is your local window covering experts. They do it all: blinds, shades, drapery, shutters, even home automation. And they'll be there with you from the design to the measuring to the installation. Budget Blinds is with you every step of the way.
Hello, I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds at Tallahassee. Let us help you with your unique window treatment needs. Call us at 668-4835 for a free in-home consultation or find us online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
Don't risk falling off that ladder. Let the pros handle it at Gutter Solutions of Tallahassee. If there's one thing your home desperately wants on its Christmas wish list this year, it's healthy, protected gutters. Because nothing spoils holiday cheer like overflowing gutters, roof leaks, or water damage right before the new year. And with more winter rain on the way, now's the perfect time to make sure your home is ready. Call Gutter Solutions of Tallahassee. We provide seamless gutter installation, expert repairs, professional cleaning, and premium gutter guards, all designed to keep your home protected so you can enjoy the season stress-free. No ladders, no mess, no mid-holiday emergencies. Plus, the year-end is the best time to schedule service. Avoid the spring rush, protect your home before the rainy season returns, and start the new year off with one less thing to worry about. Give your home the gift that lasts. Reliable gutters from a trusted local team. Gutter Solutions of Tallahassee. With us, it's personal.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The days are getting shorter, my friend. That's what happens in the wintertime. And while I love winter, I don't like the shortened days. Sometimes it leads to depression. You know what else leads to depression? Poor football. Poor football leads to depression. More on that in a moment. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Give online therapy a try at betterhelp.com/warchant and get on your way to being your best self. Yeah, Florida State football is depressing a lot of people. It's depressing me. It's depressing you. And we've got to talk about it on the regular. And sometimes that's what you need to do. You need to reach out to that somebody that you haven't talked to in a while, somebody that you thought, man, I should go have a cup of coffee and see how they're doing. Find out how the people in your life are doing. Communicate. Reach out. It's always a good idea. And that's true. Mental health as well. It's okay. Therapy works. And you'll ask yourself sometimes, why didn't I do this sooner? Talk to somebody that you can connect with that you haven't in the past to explain the way you're feeling, and you'll feel better about it. By the way, quality therapists, BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the United States. Focus on your therapy goals. It's a short questionnaire. It's very simple, and it is private. You don't have to worry about sharing your thoughts with the world. This is what works. This month, don't wait to reach out, whether you're checking in on a friend or reaching out for a therapist for yourself. BetterHelp makes it easier to take the first step. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/warchant. That's betterhelp.com/warchant. betterhelp.com/warchant. Knock off Florida. Their fourth loss. They're now 5-4. It's pleasant to see. Those backcourt issues continue. Anyhow, I don't know how much college basketball you've been able to segue to, but I find myself missing it. I'm ready to watch Florida State again. I know it's been a rough road here as of late, but I I'm ready to see them get back after it against teams they can beat.
Haven't pivoted there too much. I've caught up a little bit on hockey, and honestly, I'm finding myself like I'm a kid again, looking at the NFL standings every so often throughout the day, each division, looking at permutations, upcoming games, who's likely going to get in, tiebreaker scenarios, conference record head-to-head. I'm enjoying the hell out of that, as well as the winter meetings, although the winter meetings are not going so hot so far for my franchise.
Yeah, and it's important to note, and I normally save it for the third hour, but yeah, the Baltimore Orioles, they were pivoting. They were absolutely trying to bring in Kyle Schwarber, which, by the way, I'm scared to think of what Kyle Schwarber would have done at Camden Yards. Holy moly, that could have been 85 home runs. Sweet Jesus, that's a child's ballpark. My Pirates offered him a massive amount of money as well. Seems like a legit offer, especially for a franchise that counts paper clips and so forth. But I was impressed by their offer. In the end, we both thought he would always end up back with Philadelphia, and he did. But once Baltimore realized they couldn't get Kyle Schwarber, they went after your boy, and they got him. Pete Alonso, 5-year, $155 million in Baltimore. I'm going to guess he'll love that ballpark. The Mets have seen several guys leave. Edwin Diaz was offered more money by the Mets than he was the Dodgers, and he left anyhow. What the hell is that about?
He was offered the idea of more money. They offered him, well, here's what I mean. They offered him 3 for $66. The Dodgers said 3 for $69. The Mets said, but we can come off of that number. And he said, peace.
Yeah.
He wanted out. And you know what?
He performed well there. Why? It's not like New York bothered him. What was that about?
No, maybe it's a clash with Mendoza. Mendoza didn't back him a couple of years ago with the sticky tack on his fingers, which was kind of funny. He's like, the rules are the rules.
Well,
wow. Okay, Skip.
They kind of are.
But his velocity's down. I'm not terribly worried about that.
Closers I never worry about.
The Alonso deal, that's a lot of term. I don't think we were ever going to go 5 at 30 a year. Now, it might work out for them fine, and maybe they'll convince him to play or to DH because he didn't want a DH. That's what he told us. But, yeah, we just need to make some moves, and we will.
Yeah, well, you've got a billionaire owner. So that's Nimmo and Diaz.
And Nimmo, good. Thank God.
Yeah, Nimmo, Diaz, and Alonso for your group that has so far.
And McNeil on the chopping block. Yes, please.
He's a tough guy to like.
He's somebody you'd almost heckle if you were there in person and he was out in center field.
He's just so difficult to like, man. That guy is the worst. You're probably you're gonna be. He's not a bad player though. He's not a terrible player. He's just not somebody you have to hang on to.
You're correct.
Yeah.
He's also a minus in the clubhouse. He's a total,
you don't say.
Yeah, he's a total something.
Yeah, he's difficult to deal with. You mentioned hockey a moment ago. You know how we're always talking about the worst case scenarios where you get punched in the boys, and we always bring up baseball when this comes around because we think relief pitching is the king of running kick to the boys because it takes time to see it play out. You're like, oh, you're going to walk the leadoff hitter, are you? Okay. I can see what's about to happen here, but it takes too much time. Well, first of all, it takes a lot of time to walk a guy, especially if he's in an at-bat in which he's battling, right?
Yeah, and then you run it 2-0 to the next guy. And here you go. The catcher does this number out of his crouch, gets up, jogs to the
you're
mound.
like, oh, no.
The TV announcer says, that's a good idea. That's a good idea here. You need to get him to regroup.
Yeah, and so normally baseball is the one. Now, you and I have played the scenario where we're both announcers, and we talk about the particular upset that's on the cusp of happening. One of those games that you have no business losing, and you're going to watch it, and you're going to say, no, that can't happen, and all of the things. And it starts with something as silly as, I don't know, a punt going off of somebody's helmet, or a dropped ball, or did he fumble that? And we've done the scenario. There was one in hockey last night. This isn't a story about hockey. It's not a story about two teams that play hockey. It's a story about how if you're a fan, in that moment you have to go, okay, it just happened. I just watched that, and it's time to go home. That one's going to sting for a minute. I think you know that I'm talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins last night, who are in a power play with seconds to go and give up a shorthanded goal with 1 second to play to force overtime and they lose in the shootout. That is tough. You give up a shorthanded goal with 1 second to play in regulation?
It's a toughie. I would imagine it was actually 5v5 with the empty net, but yeah, it's not easy. Typically in that situation as a coach, what you do is you roll out 2 defensemen and play a standard line. But I didn't see that situation. That would be a tough one to swallow. It'd be a little harder for your head to hit the pillow that night, for sure.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, that happened. What are we going to do? We're going to go home, pretend we never showed up here at the rink.
It also feels something like full expectation that you'll have a new offensive coordinator next year, and you realize, no, could very well be the same guy. That's not easy for the head and the pillow either.
It's beginning to feel that way, no doubt. It's beginning to feel more and more like Gus Malzahn.
Beginning to look a lot like Gus Malzahn.
Ah, brother. Hi, Jinx. Thanks for the contribution. Jeff, why has college football moved away from the hand in the dirt, neck roll, come get you some 3rd and 4 fullback? We need one. Oh, fullback. I love fullbacks. And you've seen they've kind of taken over the NFL. And I noted in the offseason, I was hearing a lot of reports about franchises, coaches, more importantly, embracing bringing in a fullback, having a fullback lead the way because, and again, everything is cyclical in the NFL and in college football to some extent. Coordinators adjusting to coordinators constantly. You get into a game of everybody gets spread out, bunch of dime and nickel packages on defense, and eventually the offense is tired of it with all these hybrid players. Like, you know what? You want to go small in essence, like the NBA or college basketball? You want to go small? All right. I'm going to feed the post to my 6'11" guy and bully you. And in the NFL, in this case, you got a bunch of offensive minds that are like, oh, we're gonna bring it back home. Let's see if this hybrid 205-pound guy wants to come up and take on a lead blocker who's 248 pounds, Lorenzo Neal, coming through the hole here, and then tackle after you take on said block a 215-pound running back who's 5'9". Let's see how often you're in the dime then. How often you're in a nickel package then. And so that's what you're seeing. You see it all over the league, and it's awesome. I love it. San Francisco does it a ton. But it is fun to watch. New England does it. A lot of old school coaches and, guys of that mindset that have gone back to the fullback. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it in college football. But it's less about the league or a sport going away from something that, made it, and more about reacting to what defenses or offenses are doing and coordinators adjusting to trends that are successful or not.
Well, I wonder if that's something that bleeds back even to a place like this. We run a lot of gun, but if you've got a quarterback who can throw over the middle of the field because he can see over the line of scrimmage,
it's helpful.
It's the guy you bring in. Feels like the tight end becomes a lot more piece of the puzzle at that point offensively. And we're supposed to have 2 or 3 different types of H-backs, tight ends in this offense. You just hardly ever saw it this past year, but it's something that we hijinks and everybody who wants to see a fullback, you could see a glorified tight end that is referred to as something else.
Yeah.
As a much larger part of this offense. We thought Randy Pittman might be that guy. Lord knows we have like 5 or 6 dudes that could qualify in that role. We'll see if maybe that's something that we get to see here next year a little bit more of.
Well, look, if they're going to end up keeping Gus and running, in essence, an option offense, I will say that, I won't like it. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. I won't like it. But okay, all right, you're doing that. Please, as Tom just said, can we get somebody who can see over the line and throw the ball accurately in the middle of the field? It opens up a lot of the other stuff that you want to do already. Quarterback run has to be a part of that. It may not be as big a part of it depending on who you bring in, but, man, the ability to attack the seams and throw the ball accurately, yeah, man, think about how many big plays you didn't see this year in the middle of the field.
It's a lot of field between the hash marks in college.
Golly.
It's a lot of geography.
I mean, you want to operate there. You think about how, frankly, one of the things I loved about Jimbo's offense, man, did we brutalize people in the middle of the field. I mean, of course, it helped that you had Jameis Winston, a professional quarterback, basically. But that's my point. Bring in a 6'4", 6'5" guy that's an accurate passer and let him expose that part of the field. It makes defenses play you honest.
Well, that's part of the conversation they had with their signee this year in Jaden O'Neal. Like, if you look at Gus's offenses, they work at their best when you have a guy who can run. There's no doubt about that. But if you had a more statuesque type, maybe you're forced to use those things that you have, which are, I think you got better wide receiver talent in terms of depth than you do running back talent in terms of depth. We use a ton of running backs, but let's just say that Deuce comes back and you have McCoy and you got Boggs growing into a role. And then these young kids that come in, one or two of them emerges, and you like Chase Lofton as a potential pass catcher as well before he got hurt.
Yeah,
I mean, you might have 4 or 5, but you might have 4 or 5 options that you can use off of the read option game that you could start operating as a quarterback a little bit more. I don't know. It'll also be interesting to see how much they talk up Kevin Sperry, because they talked about him an awful lot before the season started. And then when there were opportunities to give him exposure, didn't happen. He only played 3 games this year. Didn't even play a fourth. And again, I'm going to argue that if you knew this thing wasn't going where you wanted to go and the season was pretty well lost, you should have been thrusting him into a position to find out what you have. You needed to find out what you had. And I think that's true of some of the younger offensive linemen too. I would have figured out what they were. You know, how many kids do we really need to go after in the portal on the offensive line? I mean, can you get something out of Lucas? I mean, can you get something out of, these backups, Sandman? And he's young, awfully young, but I would have wanted to play him. Yeah, the reluctance to do that with Tommy or the offensive line was frustrating. I guess they're trying like hell to go to a bowl, and then you do it. I mean, is that what that was about? Chasing that last win?
They didn't do it though. I mean,
I'm saying rolling the veterans back out there for NC State and Florida, even though we all knew the season was failing. Like, was that with an eye towards we just need to get the 6th win, and maybe we give some of these younger guys a shot at that point? They just never got.
Yeah, that's the lament of not going to a bowl, Tom. That's the only lament of not going to a bowl. Even at 5-7, that's the lament of not going to a bowl. Although I don't know that we wanted to see this team play again, and it certainly would have just been a glorified exhibition. But that would have been a time that I think if you went to a bowl at 5-7, I'd have started every young guy that you thought had potential, every single one. No veteran would have even seen the field.
Well, that's the thing. Multiple things can be true. If they announced that they had gone to a bowl, that they accepted a bowl invite, the majority of Nole fans would have been nonplussed. Yes. Also true, it would have benefited the program. 100%, because it also speeds up the truths that you're trying to find out right now and unearth as a coaching staff of who's entering the portal. Now, these names keep on amassing as we go right now, but if you are starting to hold practices, you might, maybe some of these guys that are undecideds that have yet to reveal their intentions, or guys that want to 11th hour you with negotiations before the portal opens on January 2. Like, maybe it speeds up what happens in those moments so you have a better idea of what you have and what you don't for 26 in terms of full commitment to playing here next season.
There's no easy way to segue to the next segment, which was me talking about how much I just wish the Big 12 commissioner was the ACC commissioner, Brett Yormark. I'll talk about his comments in which he thought that Notre Dame's athletic director, Pete Bavacqua, quote unquote behavior is egregious. There you go. I just like that guy says something. Always has something to say, and he's usually on point. It's aggressive and sharp.
Well, Bavacqua was a coward.
Brought up.
Yeah.
Right by this guy.
It's nice. It's nice to see, because that press conference yesterday, flop city.
Calamitous, I tell you. My friends at Tried and True Consulting, not calamitous. Outstanding at what they do. Now, again, you may say, I don't know anything about a payments and business solutions company, processing payments, all that sort of thing. These are guys that are of the community. These are guys that can help in so many ways beyond just that. And more businesses in towns after meeting Don and Joe and Rusty, all Noles, all guys here to help, all guys that are partnering with the Jeff Cameron Show in the local community, helping out on our golf tournaments, our bowling tournaments, helping out in businesses all around town, doing the good work and giving back 10% of their net revenue to the Battle's End to boot. Tried and True Consulting, 844-464-6653. Go check them out online, Tried and True Consulting. Reach out to Don. He is there to help and will meet you head-to-head, sit down, talk with you about your needs. Make sure that you're saving money, making money, and protected in today's business climate. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
No matter what printing you need to keep your business running, we can help. Hi, Jason Butera here for The Printery. Reduce your stress and give us a call. From new product brochures or posters to yard signs, postcards, even letterhead and envelopes, The Printery sets the standard in personalized service with outstanding results. We offer full-service graphic design and free pickup and delivery. The Printery, home of 36-cent color copies. If it's ink on paper, we've got it covered. Call us today, 877-6418. 877-6418.
You worked hard on making your house the grandest holiday decorated in the city. Well, Parker Services AC and Electrical is giving you an opportunity to be recognized for that work. Parker Services is proud to bring the Tallahassee area its Holiday Lights competition. There will be 3 winners, one from each of these categories. Heavenly Light, which captures the spirit of the Nativity. Most Electrifying, which recognizes the most vibrant, energy-packed displays. And Elves Gone Wild, for the most whimsical and wacky display. Each winner will receive a great prize package. The second and third place finisher will also be recognized. To enter, visit Parker Services website, TallahasseeAC.com. Again, TallahasseeAC.com by December 19th. You'll find easy-to-follow instructions there. Good luck and happy holidays from Parker Services AC, Electrical, and Generators too.
Parker Services, comfort just a call away.
Florida license number CMC 050334 and EC 130-12140.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch a Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Tired of spending money on bug spray and inhaling all those fumes every time you want to go outside? Treat your yard so you can stop spraying your kids.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control has a solution to this persistent problem. Paul's has a program which seeks the grounds, flower bed, and shrubs. Paul's controls pesky mosquitoes year-round, which means you can take back control of your yard. Not only are mosquitoes a physical irritation, they also pose a potential health risk to people and pets. With Paul's targeted techniques, you can rest assured that your yard will be protected and your afternoons will stay fun.
Take back your yard. Don't let mosquitoes interrupt the fun. For more information, go to callpauls.com. For the elimination of termites or any other pests.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Pauls. We'll get them all.
Pauls can help eliminate fire ants from your lawn, too. We'll help you take your yard back.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Tom, in a moment, we'll have to pull it up. You're going to need to go find it. Have you seen the Army-Navy uniforms?
Yeah. The Navy ones are very good this year, I think.
The Navy ones are fantastic. That is so cool how they do the copper. You know, you have the 5 original U.S. Navy frigates, and you see the copper clad with the, protecting the wooden hulls. It's amazing. They've gotten so complicated with the way they do this with their helmets. Oh, man. I'll get to both of them in a moment. Every year it's a tradition. We get excited about this.
4 hours it takes for the Navy helmets to be prepared.
Is that right?
Yes.
Individually?
Each helmet takes 4 hours to paint. Yes.
It's badass. It's so badass. Do you think the game will update the uniforms for college football 25?
They should. They absolutely
They
should.
need to do it, man. Look, obviously both sides every year do something really cool where they draw the inspiration from their history. And, there are details. Both have websites where you can go and read all about, like, the stone pants pay tribute to the uniform color palette worn by the sailors at sea, that kind of a thing for Navy. I was reading that earlier today. I love it. Before break, though, I was talking about this, and so I do need to finish up here. I really like the Big 12's commissioner. So you had, Pete Bavacqua questioning why the ACC, quote unquote, went after Notre Dame. And he went on to say that he thought that it was an attack on Notre Dame, PR-wise, and all of those things. And we laughed at that. And we talked, heaven forbid that the ACC commissioner vouch for the University of Miami, who's a member institution of the ACC, and not Notre Dame, who has a scheduling agreement with the ACC. And, didn't seem to be all that, thankful for what the ACC did for Notre Dame during COVID. But, hey, the commissioner of the Big 12, Brett Yormark, took issue with it. Speaking at the Sports Business Journal's Intercollegiate Athletics Forum yesterday, he said about Bavacqua, he's totally out of bounds in this approach. If he's in the room, I'd tell him the same thing. Went on to say that, look, in 2020, when the Irish played a 10-game ACC schedule during COVID, they went 9-0 in league play that year before losing in the league championship game in a rematch to Clemson, but were still selected as the 4th seed in the 4-team college football playoff where they lost to Alabama in the semis. They were done a favor. I think Pete's behavior is egregious. It's been egregious going after Jim Phillips when, after all, they saved Notre Dame. The chair said that as Notre Dame and Miami got closer together, we all knew head-to-head would be part of the solution. Look, BYU didn't get in. The committee's criteria, despite going 11-2, they lost to the same team twice. They didn't get in, went to the championship game, and were penalized for that loss a second time. And BYU's not whining.
They're also not backpedaling like cowards after deciding that they wanted to go soundbite hunting when on a national show with Dan Patrick.
Yeah.
He said permanent damage is what the ACC caused.
Now he said nothing's permanent.
And it morphed into damage, and he said real damage. And then he was asked yesterday, can the relationship with the ACC be repaired? And he says all things can be healed. Like, I'm not going to be overly dramatic here, right? But, it strained the relationship. So we go from permanent damage to real damage to strained. You coward. You absolute coward. He won't stand by what he said because he knew he went too far. And somebody got to him between the Dan Patrick interview and his presser and said, hey, man, enough of that nonsense. Permanent damage.
And, oh, by the way, again, are we just forgetting what happened in 2020? You had to put together a schedule. We allowed you to play 9 ACC games when nobody would. You'd have been out here ham and egging it. We gave you the opportunity.
I think that's a guy who really, really wants to be commissioner of the sport because he has been with NBC, and that was Swarbrick that was the AD at that point during COVID. But he's been with NBC, so he gets it from a network side. Notre Dame's a big brand. He knows that he's got a platform through NBC and contacts there to get on national shows. And he's talking yesterday about all the changes he'd like to see in the sport when it comes to athlete compensation. Like, man, you're using this as a platform to get Pete Bavacqua's 30-minute session on what's wrong with the sport, not Notre Dame's gripes against the ACC.
Right. It was, disguised as.
Right.
the first comment that he made right off the bat. I mean, what happens is, and you know how this works, when you're the aggrieved, when you're the party that has been wronged to varying degrees, obviously a much lesser extent for Notre Dame than Florida State when it happened to us, an unprecedented snub that has never seen before or maybe since. You're emotional, you're frustrated, and you hear from a lot of your most powerful boosters, alumni, staff members, you name it, board of trustees, and they want answers. And they want something to be stated publicly, and they want a reaction that best illustrates those frustrations, that anger. There's a grievance, and you're the mouthpiece for it, and it's all the more reason that you have to be measured and careful when you first respond, because oftentimes the first thing you say is the one that is going to be best documented.
I'm wondering, like, did something go viral that I'm not aware of with the ACC as it was picking on Notre Dame and elevating Miami?
No, what happened was there was a tweet, Tom, a tweet.
First problem.
Yep. Okay. So there was a tweet in which the ACC posted the head-to-head, basically posted the resumes of the two programs that the debate was about, Miami and Notre Dame. And at the end of the day said, Exhibit A, Miami and Notre Dame have played one another, and Miami won the game. And so obviously they were promoting the member institution, Miami, the team in their league. Now, I hope, by the way, speaking of which, and I have no problem with the ACC doing that, I hope, however, they go back to the drawing board regarding their tie-breaking process here for the ACC championship game. You can't get to the fifth level of that thing and have no point ratings matter.
It was a tweet.
Yeah.
And he said, I really was expecting a phone call and an apology after that tweet. I figured somebody got out over their skis and Jim would call me and say, we're sorry, that's never going to happen again. And then it kept happening. Like, what kept happening? The most egregious thing they did, if you want to use that word, which I'm using loosely, is that they did put the Miami Notre Dame football game on repeat the entire week on ACC Network.
It was fantastic.
That's pretty funny.
It's the most aggressive thing they've ever done. We've complained about the ACC being soft and obsolete and led by sheepish leadership. Let's put it that way. I'll try to be nice. Over the years, first of all, how nice of them not to show lacrosse for 9 hours and to do interviews with the volleyball coach. Nothing against volleyball. But instead, put the football on, and how about the two teams that are up for debate here? These two, in which, and you know me, I don't want Miami to get into the playoff, but they deserve to be there ahead of Notre Dame.
It's a mean tweet.
That's
what it all boils down to, is this guy got offended about a tweet.
Well, originally that's what he got offended by. Then he was upset. Look.
Well, and also he wasn't offended. There was not a phone call to apologize about the tweet. I should have gotten an apology phone call.
So here's the deal, man. And we talked about this for years and years and years with Notre Dame. They already get special treatment, right? That rubs people the wrong way. They're the most popular football program in America. They are. They have their own network. They are, when you talk about cachet in the sport, ain't nobody bigger than Notre Dame. Got it. At the same time, they fiercely guarded their independence. And we know there are repercussions for this. There are rewards as well. Financial rewards and independence is something that they have benefited from greatly, and I don't blame them for it. It's if you can do it, and very few, if anybody else, could. It's just them. And they've benefited from that. But in this instance, it hurt them on several levels. The first of which, they didn't get to play in a conference championship game in which they could have punched their own ticket because they're not in an effing conference. All right. So for years and years and years, we said someday that may come back to hurt you. They've said, we'll take our chances. We like the money. Got it. And there are rules that are built into this whole thing, baked into the process, that give them a distinct advantage over every other college football program in America, in which they get, more than the benefit of the doubt. Let's put it that way.
Especially moving forward.
Now it's just top 12, yeah.
No, it's just you finish the top 12, you're in.
Yeah.
Or if it's 14, they got to finish 14.
Did you look at their schedule for next year? They're in the top 12. I'm going to tell you right now, Notre Dame's made the playoff, guys.
Right.
Don't worry about that aspect of it. Notre Dame has made the playoffs, folks, next year. But that's neither here nor there. Let's get back to this. So they got hurt by not being in a conference and not playing for a conference championship game. They got hurt that the ACC stunk this year. And, Miami didn't play in that championship game. If you would have had Miami and Virginia, you would have had a de facto play-in game. You would have had one less of the at-large. And, Notre Dame would have gotten – anyhow, that's how that worked. So there's that. But then the other problem they had, they didn't have anybody in the room. And we've seen, baseball especially, we've seen over the years, when you don't have somebody in the room arguing on your behalf, bend over. Because everybody else is going to have representation on that committee. You think the SEC doesn't have somebody in there arguing on behalf of their 4th or 5th or 6th team? You're damn right they do. And the ACC had representation. And I don't know this to be true, but here's my guess. When the ACC watched their program, Florida State University, get bent over in a way that's never been done before, they vowed, a little late on our behalf, or they vouched never again. So what they probably would have done in that situation, talking to the committee, I would guess, if you're representing the ACC in that room, this just stands to reason, they would have said, here's the deal, man. You ain't bitching us again. You screwed us out of a chance to play for a national title. One of our teams is getting into this dance. That's the way it's going to go right now. Here's the deal. You got Miami, which is the easier choice for you at 10-2 and won the game against Notre Dame. But if you don't want to do that, fine. If you think that it's going to look bad because of the way you did your Mickey Mouse TV program for the last 6 weeks, then fine. James Madison's not getting in. Duke is. They won the ACC championship. So you got two options. It's either Duke for winning the ACC championship gets in over James Madison, which, by the way, you can make that argument because their schedule is butt cheeks. And so we're going to let Duke in, fine. Or you put Miami in, which, by the way, is the easier solution. Now, the question at that moment had to have come for the rest of that committee. Are we really going to do this? Are we really going to shaft Notre Dame?
Yeah, and all they had to do was drop Alabama one spot to protect them. That's all they had to do. Because they would have said the same way for BYU. There's a buffer in between. We can't compare head-to-head. That Bama that gets absolutely destroyed just drops down to 10. Notre Dame climbs up to 9. Miami's stuck at 11. They go from 12 to 11. BYU drops.
Yeah.
And then there you go. They're covered. But they didn't have the appetite to benefit Notre Dame. That's the most interesting thing about this to me.
Well,
now,
they didn't have representation. There was nobody in there arguing on their behalf. It gets real easy to screw somebody when they're not there.
They had a lot of representation to get a memorandum of understanding that says henceforth they're A-okay.
Of course. Yeah, the sport bends over backwards for Notre Dame. This is why this is why so many people loathe Notre Dame. And then Notre Dame fans wonder why they're hated. And I don't hate a Notre Dame fan per se. But yeah, it's just not an easy program to have sympathy for.
They haven't given us much in the last 30 some odd years. No titles for sure.
Well, but they've been a very good program lately, and they just played for the national title recently.
Charlie Weiss and Brady Quinn for 10 seconds, Marcus Freeman for a few minutes, Brian Kelly.
Duly noted that they have not been bringing home championships. I'm just saying they are not the program that we made fun of when Brian Kelly took them to the national championship game, because we knew that anybody that got to that game was going to kick the bejesus out of Notre Dame, who was lesser than. But I don't think Freeman's Notre Dame team is lesser than right now. I think it's a really good program. They got a lot of good NFL players, and they would have had a chance to win this thing.
Agreed. In this moment, I'm just saying that it's almost like you give Miami or Nebraska top 12 protection rules. They give Notre Dame top 12 protection rules because of stuff they did forever ago. And every once in a while they're a blip on the radar. But we're going to reward them for being something that they haven't been since I was a second grader.
Well, it's no doubt aggravating. The lore of Notre Dame is quite a bit greater than that of Nebraska and Miami. But yes, I understand your point. I should mention Army's uniforms, by the way, 1775 on the back of the helmet and the U.S. Army seal on the helmet. The helmet is the best part about it, not the marble print of the uniform. And I don't like the numbers. Don't love the numbers.
As I recall, it feels like that, oh God, what was the name of that motorcycle gang show? Remember that one on FX?
Yeah, but it was good.
Sons of Anarchy? It's got a little Sons of Anarchy feel to it.
There is specific reasoning behind.
Of course there is. They choose everything, but it's like, oh, man.
Yeah, the Army in the past, I feel like, has done a better job with these uniforms. The Navy's kicking the Army's ass this year in the uniform contest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a no decision.
Yeah, the Navy wins.
Or no contest, excuse me.
Navy's winning going away. Now, I will tell you from the marble standpoint, the white on white with the silver for the helmet, if you do the right thing and you wear white socks with white cleats and white pants with the white top and it says United States Army across the back where a name would normally be, and that's really cool. I like that part of it, and I like the seal on the helmet. But, yeah, you definitely got to go white, white, white. I'd have everybody wearing the white gloves, the white sleeves. It'd be a whiteout up in this bitch. All kinds of white. It looks cool with that silver on the helmet, but Navy wins. It's really not close. The whole USS
and
Constitution.
We will give a tie to the Army.
We are biased as it
not
gets.
A tie.
But that copper on the helmet, oh my word, that is incredible. It makes me want to wear the damn Navy shirt. I won't. But it's something. Look at that thing. I'm looking at that helmet right now.
Yeah, I shared it earlier when you were talking. And yes, the process, the promo video they put out about the ship rocking in the sea, and you've got like the crow's nest and the captain's whatever the term is for the captain.
Yeah,
his quarters. It's a very, very well put together promo video for the reveal of the uniform.
So when the USS Constitution was coppered in 1797, her lower hull required 12,000 feet of sheeted copper and copper nails. That's where all this copper is coming from. And it was an innovation at the time that extended the life of the ship. It carries a symbolic connection in its history. Coins placed beneath each mast for good luck. So you look at that helmet and you can see the ship, and then you look at the way it's so cool. It's one of the best ones they've ever done. Pisses me off. Navy's winning, going away. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A NIMS middle school student was arrested Monday after bringing a makeshift knife to campus, according to a Leon County Sheriff's Office press release. A school resource deputy found the knife constructed from a piece of saw blade with a wrapped handle in the 7th grader's backpack. The 13-year-old was charged with possession of a dangerous weapon on school property and was taken to the Juvenile Assessment Center. Monday's arrest comes about 2 weeks after another 13-year-old NIMS middle school student was taken into custody after a deputy found an 8-inch steak knife in their backpack. 2 other middle schoolers at different schools have also been arrested recently for bringing weapons to campus. On 2 separate occasions, 2 different 12-year-old Griffin middle school students were taken into custody, one for bringing a BB gun and another for bringing a metal airsoft pistol to campus. LCSO encouraged parents and guardians to speak with their kids about the serious consequences of bringing weapons to school. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
I'm meteorologist Ryan Gold, and it is a much warmer lunchtime than it was yesterday. Upper 50s and low 60s when that was pretty much our high yesterday. We'll likely be heading home in those mid to low 60s, and the sun will be shining all day long. The highs, they're going to be hitting around 3 p.m., potentially in the upper 60s. Most of us will be in the mid 60s. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Ryan Gold.
What do you need tires on? Your car or truck, tractor, or heavy equipment? At Nice Tire and Auto Service, we have tires for all of these needs. And we service your vehicle from air conditioning and computerized alignment to oil changes and everything else under the hood. Call Nice Tire and Auto today at 574-4100. That's 574-4100 for your scheduled maintenance. National accounts welcome at Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
I was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
But they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
No, Kev, thanks for the contribution. I've never liked the Bucks, but I bet you guys remember Mike Alstott. Was he a running back or a fullback? Dude was a monster. Oh, yeah. I've got funny. Thanks, no, Kev. Look, he was considered a fullback, but he had running back feet, and he was also awesome at Purdue. Go back and look at the highlight reels of him at Purdue as a running back. He was unbelievable, and they played on the turf, AstroTurf then, and you just see that guy when he got going. It was unreal, and, of course, he was great in Tampa Bay. He stole a lot of Warwick Dunn's touchdowns in fantasy football, I'll tell you that.
He also stole an awful lot of Pro Bowl votes at fullback. He was voted to the Pro Bowl every year.
When you get a chance to go back and look at who Mike Alstott was, maybe he was a little better than we gave him credit for at the time that he was in Tampa. It's not that we didn't like him. He was never an outcast or somebody that we didn't think deserved to be talked about, glowingly. But we there were players on offense that on those teams that we liked more, that we thought added more. Warwick Dunn being one of them. Yeah.
I mean, there was a purpose for it. It's just that, when he was placed at fullback, I don't remember him being especially good as a blocker.
He wasn't terrible, but he wasn't. They gave him the ball. They gave him the ball an awful lot.
He also fumbled a lot in key situations. But he's a special player, and he's an all-time Buck. He's also one of those cult hero players, and he deserves every bit of that. Like, it is remarkable to watch him, and he was on a heater 97, 98. Oh, man. He was something special.
Well, he was the original, and, I grew to loathe Chris Berman's act, but he was the original, Yeah, that was him. I mean, that's what he did. He just destroyed people.
Yeah. He also had incredible skills for as blocky as he was in staying upright.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Or staying
because he was squatty.
Right, but he was really good at using his hand because he was also so very strong. Weird contortion positions.
There's a run
to where he's not down, and everybody thinks he's down, but he's not.
One arm sticking to the ground, and he's lurching forward for another 5 yards. No, he was an athlete.
That was the Atlanta touchdown along the right sideline.
It's insane, that play. Well, and the famous run against Cleveland, he's had so many runs. There's a run that I struggled to find. When you do the Alstott highlight reel thing, in the modern era where reels are a thing, they can make an average player look great. This happens in the NBA a lot. They take highlights where a player who had a preternatural gift, maybe a great handle, see White Chocolate, somebody like that who had a great handle, and they put together over the course of his career, 25 incredible highlights, and you just think that's who he was as a player. You're like, he was really on a night-to-night basis, not that great. Did he have moments in the league where he embarrassed some of the best players of all time? Absolutely. Did he have a unique gift? Yes, he did. Was he a great basketball player relative to that league? No. So that's kind of like, you see that. That's how those reels work. And you'll see that with football players too. Again, if you're at the highest levels, you're a uniquely gifted player. And then you might have a gift that is preternatural compared to other people in the league. This one thing you do better than anybody else, one-hand catches. Does that make you a better receiver than a bunch of other receivers? No, it means you make the one-hand catch better than most. You're an acrobat. Incredible. Cool. Other guys, there's more playing receiver. We all know that, So that's true. Alstott was kind of like that. He was a very, very good player. You want him on your team more than you don't. He helped you win a lot of football games. He was fun to love. he wasn't that player that the highlight reel says he is when you watch those things now. But there's a play, Tom, real quick. I can never find it. There's one, and we're playing in Detroit. He runs over to this poor safety in a way that it's just, I feel so bad for the safety because he's trying to do the right thing. He's coming up. I've been in that position before, not in the NFL or even at a high level like Florida State, but where you come down to make a play in the run because you read run, and man, there's a gaping hole he goes through so the defensive line doesn't do their job. And then the linebacker is out of position or is steady getting blocked, and he's gone ahead and embracing that block instead of fighting to get off of it. And you're the last level of defense. And that man is 257 pounds. And he's 5'10", with thighs the size of Earl Campbell's. What am I going to do? I mean, come on, let's be honest. This dude is, I'm going to get killed.
Shoestrings.
Those guys make business decisions all the time. Hammy, ooh, turf monster got me. Or I dive at his feet and hope he jumps over me. But the guy that in earnest tries to make that tackle, sir, you're out here trying to die for your team, aren't you?
You saying it's on the road at Detroit?
Yeah, it's on the road at Detroit. Now, the problem is you type in Alstott Detroit, you'll find a lot of games in which he trucks Detroit players, but there's this one play, and the guy comes up and tries to hit him, and his helmet goes one way, his feet go the other, and he's nearly dead. He's nearly dead.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, that's why you don't do that.
It was sports talk radio was in its infancy at that point in Tampa and across the country, but I can recall that the old debate with Alstott was certain part of the fan base thought he should be the featured back. The other part of the fan base thought he should be a goal line back. And they would argue back and forth on this point. And it seemed inevitably whenever he would get 2 games in a row featured as the guy, because there would be games where he gets 12, 15 carries. The second one where people say, all right, it's time, he fumbles. And he fumbles again. You go, well, this is the problem with him. This is the problem with him. He fumbled a lot.
The other reason he's beloved, though, in Tampa is that he embraced the hell out of the franchise and never wavered and has been an eternal Buck, didn't go anywhere else, and afterwards stayed in Tampa and has shows and any number of get-togethers at local restaurants and bars. He's still gigantic. He leads the team out of the tunnel all the time. He's in the stadium. I mean, he is a Buccaneer, buddy.
Absolutely.
That dude, and I like that about him now. He is a Buccaneer.
Right. You don't want to give that back, but I'd like to give the rock to Wark Dunn more than we gave it to him, because maybe he would have been a Hall of Famer at that point.
He still might be.
Yeah, maybe.
Hold out hope.
Ahead of his time.
Seth writes, based on the ages of the guys hired, reported, all these moves seem to be about recruiting. We'll see how it works, though. Yes, we will, Seth. And you're talking about the fact these coaches they're hiring are younger. And recruiting seems to be a young man's game. So, I agree.
Yeah, the edge coach from Syracuse that had been with Texas A&M and Georgia, most certainly, that's a recruiting hire. If they get that guy that CBS 24/7 reported, the running backs coach, if the Tulsa guy actually comes here, that's recruiting as well. And then you just hope that Brandon Harris from UCF is as apt at channeling those relationships as Tim Harris has been. It would stand to reason. Dad's a coach down there, and Tim Jr. was very good for us this year at that position group. It could very well be.
Yeah. Richard, you're hard of hearing. Neither one of us think that Mike Alstott wasn't that good. We think he's great. We think he's an all-time great Buccaneer, and he was a great football player. We're saying relative to the highlight reel that you see in the modern era, and that's exactly what I said.
He wasn't the best running back on the team when Wark Dunn was his teammate, but he was really good, and we were loaded at running back at that position.
He was really good. Well, the coolest thing was when
he was more unique, but he wasn't the best running back on the team.
It was also really cool when they had the jumbo backfield to have Alstott and Neal back there. That was impossible.
So much fun.
That was one of the most fun things I've ever witnessed. I loved it. That was brutal to be able to put that personnel on the field and watch those guys just run over people. He was incredible. Just trucking people left and right. And that's the thing, when you have one of the greatest fullbacks leading the way for a guy who's built like a fullback, holy moly, that's a different era of football, certainly. That was frightening to see.
I was just even pulling up, say, the Super Bowl year.
Oh, when he's running over the Raiders?
Yeah.
There's the one at the goal line where that guy gets
Yeah.
just absolutely twisted. Yeah.
Super Bowl year, he had 548 yards rushing.
What'd you say?
Alstott, 548 yards rushing for the season.
For the season, yes.
Yeah, the Super Bowl year. Yeah. And then 242. So all-purpose, he's around 800 yards. And Michael Pittman for us had over 1,000 yards.
By the
So
way,
again, he was never the best.
No, and Pittman
back.
wasn't small, was he?
No, Pittman. God,
Those
Pittman
arms were massive.
He's the most vertical runner I've ever seen because even at contact, he just kind of lowered his chin a little bit in the crown of his helmet. He didn't lower the shoulders. He just kind of did this number.
And his arms were the size of Texas. Radio at warchant.com. It's radio at warchant.com. And that is where you're going to go if you're going to sign up your team for the bowling extravaganza a week from tomorrow. We do it every year. Excited to do so again this year at Capitol Lanes. We want to thank them for their support. We do this on behalf of the Florida Guardian Ad Litem Foundation, benefiting the children in Circuit 2.
9 lanes out of the 20 have been taken.
Just like that. Just like that. It's a beautiful thing. Giving kids slightly better Christmas. That's all we can hope to do. And your presence, your gifts, your presence, and your support help to do that. So radio at warchant.com. Get some.